Welcome back, everybody. It is episode 3 of the 2022 Sports Knowledgists podcast. Today we've got a fun one, you guys.
Because the other ones aren't fun.
Today we've got an even more fun one. So today's Selection Sunday, and the bracket just came out fully about half an hour ago. But instead of picking, our normal picks, today we're going to be picking who we think is going to win if the mascots were to square up and face off against each other. Yay.
That's the best way to pick a bracket.
That's how you do it. We know nothing about sports. We should give an update real quick from last episode.
Yeah,
yes.
First.
So Pat won with a score of 38 correct points. Lexi and I tied for last with 35.
It was a close race.
Would you like to share with the audience what your team that sealed the win for you was?
Roll Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They are my pick to win the championship as a 16 seed play-in. I really like the vibes coming off Corpus Christi. I think they've got a good shot to run the table.
Unreal.
I was in the lead for a good portion of time.
You were.
Until I was not. But at least I didn't come in dead last. We tied.
I was like, we didn't come in dead last. We died together.
Well, okay. Half glass full, half
glass dead. Sure.
We tied.
Glass
we didn't
all the way full.
Glass kind of a dub.
Anyways.
So let's get started with the first 4 play-in games.
Yes.
So our first one is going to be Rutgers versus Notre Dame, which is the Scarlet Knights versus the Fighting Irish.
Oh.
So, I feel like the Fighting Irish are going to have a lot of spunk, like they're going to...
As in alcohol?
Is that okay to say?
Yeah.
The difficult thing about the Irish is that they don't inherently have any weapons or armor. Knights do.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. 'Cause, Scarlet Knights, Knights are very formal, very, trained to be fighting people. And Fighting Irish are just, they do their thing.
Because even Notre Dame's mascot is, squared up like this, which implies that he wants to punch.
Yeah, but Knights,
against armor.
And a sword.
That's not going to go
an
too
army.
well. Yes.
Our second matchup in the Midwest Conference is the Texas Southern Tigers versus the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders.
Oh my goodness.
It hurts to say.
Is there any definition of an Islander that we need that might...
All I'm thinking of is the TikTok sound that's like, Island Boy.
Islander is only being defined as native or inhabitant of an island.
I feel like if we have to take the average of all people who live on an island.
I feel like that makes no sense as a mascot for a school in Texas.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's so... Not that Tigers makes much more sense, per se, for a school in Texas.
Not that I've been to Texas,
Me
but
neither.
I feel like there's no islands in Texas.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we gotta go Texas Southern. Texas Southern, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then out of the South bracket, we have the Wright State Wolves versus the Bryant Bulldogs. This is a question about domestication, and one of them is and one of them isn't.
I was going to say I'm going Wolves.
I love Bulldogs, but I don't think you can justify picking them here.
Can't pick something with lung issues.
True.
And then the last of the first 4 matchups in the East bracket is the Wyoming Cowboys versus the Indiana Hoosiers.
And to clarify, a Hoosier is someone from Indiana?
A native or inhabitant of Indiana.
Okay.
I'm going with the Cowboys.
I would agree.
Sorry, people of Indiana.
So now into the field of 64, all the way up top.
Gets real, everybody.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs versus the Georgia State Panthers.
This is an even worse draw for Bulldogs, I think, right?
Yeah, I think...
I'm going Panthers.
It's got to be Georgia State. So, Lexi, what do you think about the next matchup?
Between the Broncos and the Tigers?
This is a tricky one, honestly.
I'm going Tigers.
So
Just because Broncos
yeah.
are like horses, right?
They are, but horses are like deceptively big.
They know how to kick too. You
I
ever
think
been
it's a
behind? You ever
tiger.
sneak up on a horse from behind and get kicked?
No.
No.
Have you?
Oh, that shit hurts.
I do think you got to go with Tiger here, but I think it'll be a much closer game / fight than anyone would expect.
Yes.
Next up, we've got the Connecticut Huskies versus the New Mexico State Aggies.
What's an Aggie?
What is an Aggie?
An Aggie, I believe, is a something to do with like agriculture.
Okay, so Huskies?
But what I'm also going to take into account with this is specifically
Their
the New Mexico
mascot?
State mascot is like a cowboy.
He's
with
got a
two,
gun.
He's got 2 guns. So like, I feel like this dude, he's gonna shoot that husky in the face, right? Like.
I'm okay if we go with UConn because just like mascot over specific logo.
Yeah.
So like a husky versus an agricultural man.
Yeah.
But what about herbology?
Huh?
Could have like drugged food and
Like he could. The husky could also have a disease that he could transfer.
The husky could also just like,
I'm also gonna say that the agriculture dude could just kind of start kicking the husky.
Huskies
are big dogs though. Like it's not like it's like a corgi.
The Yukon corgis.
That'd be pretty cool though.
All right, I'll allow the husky.
Okay.
I'll bite.
So
All right.
husky.
Next, Razorbacks versus Cougars. What is a Razorback?
It's like a really
It's
angry pig.
like a wild boar type animal.
Oh.
However, I'm not like those are tough. I'm not sure it beats a mountain lion.
Yeah.
Is it a mountain lion or a cougar? Or are
They're
those
the same thing.
Okay.
I'm kind
I
of.
worked at the zoo.
Oh yeah, that's true. See, this is why we have you on.
This is the only reason I'm here to break down the animal fights.
Yeah, so I'd go cougar.
You probably got to go Vermont there.
So now we have the Alabama Crimson Tide. The idea of crimson is referring to the football team,
Well, this is
as
a
in they
bas-
all wear crimson.
So is this the Alabama football
it
team
sounds
versus
like the
Knights?
Alabama football team versus a group of knights. It is what this appears to be.
I would say Knights then.
Definitely.
Yeah, you can throw football all day, but
Like football players are tough, and they've got some big dudes on that team, but I don't think they can beat the Knights.
Raiders versus
Red Raiders.
Red Raiders, my bad, versus Bobcats.
We've got a gun thing here, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. The Red Raiders, they have to have guns, I think.
Yeah. They're from Texas.
And
they're probably
Bobcats aren't as big as you think they
Cowboys. No,
are.
they're surprisingly
They're
small.
pretty
Really?
little,
Okay.
Now that might make it harder to shoot.
but it'll also make it harder for the Bobcats to do anything.
Yeah.
I think the Red Raiders have this one.
And then next up, the Michigan State Spartans versus the Davidson Wildcats.
I mean, Spartans, right? Like Wildcats is a little ambiguous because there's no like animal that's just like a wildcat.
Yeah, like what if you just like forgot to feed your pet for like a day and now it's gone wild?
It's tough to judge Wildcat for sure, but I think the Spartans beat them there.
Ooh, Blue Devils versus Titans. That seems like it
Ooh.
could be
There's a
interesting.
mythological matchup.
This
Yeah.
is interesting.
Now, it's a blue devil, so it's got depression. This is a tactic the Titan could use.
This is hard.
Is a Titan big? Like
I think so.
I would think so. In my head, I'm picturing Vikings, but it's just like not the same thing.
Have you guys seen Hercules?
No.
Yes.
I'm just thinking of like when the Titans come out of the ground, they're really big.
They're really big.
I think Titans are big. I think they'd be bigger than
Also,
Blue Devils.
Thanos is a Titan.
Yeah, I'd say Titans
Okay.
here.
So I feel like I have to go Titan. So into now the East region, we begin with the Baylor Bears versus the Norfolk State Spartans.
Wow. Spartans coming back really quickly.
Thinking about this, see now you've got a size battle here.
Yeah,
it's
because
a
I'm thinking
one-on-one,
Bears
right?
are probably big.
Yeah,
You know?
Bears are.
So do we think the lack of sophisticated technology is going to be enough here?
I would say a bear. My gut instinct is telling me bear.
I think a bear could take more hits from a Spartan than a Spartan could from a bear.
That's a very
That is
good
a
point.
very good point. Alright, Tar Heels and Golden Eagles.
what is a Tar Heel?
Yeah,
is it just
I'm gonna
someone
need
who
some
like works in
specificity on
I
that.
want you to know that every time you ask me this and I Google like what is a blank, like when I Google what is a Tar Heel, I always get like the university admissions page that's like, what is a Tar Heel?
Oh my gosh.
Do you have what it takes to be a Tar Heel?
That's so funny.
Is a nickname for a native or resident of North Carolina.
Okay, so we got another Hoosier situation.
Yeah.
But so golden eagles, are eagles like menacing creatures? Like
So-
would they kill people?
Like the
Would
claws.
they? No. Could they?
Like,
I think they probably could.
Because what this eagle has is the ability to go up, which is something that
Yeah.
the Tar Heel does
Because
not have.
here's the
Yeah.
other thing. Bringing in a little more animal knowledge. Golden eagles specifically are like big.
Okay, so that's all
And
I needed. So
if we're
golden
taking
eagle is
the
what I'm
average person from North Carolina, give me the golden eagle.
thinking. Okay. Whatever the heck.
What's a gale?
Yeah, what is
Gales
St.
referring
Mary's.
Ready for their website.
Can it be a cowboy?
An Irish person,
So
Okay.
but
no.
not a fighting Irish.
So not
Just
even
an
one who
Irish
has a lot of
person.
fire.
Right. So like Notre Dame would be winning this if they were here, but
So we're going cowboy.
Cowboy
Yes.
has horse, Cowboy has gun.
Well said, Andrew.
Cowboy is horse, cowboy is gun. Bruins and zips. What's a zip?
I feel like their mascot, I've seen their mascot, it's either like a kangaroo or a mouse.
What? Oh, it is a kangaroo.
Okay.
So Bruins.
So, yeah,
Bruins
kangaroos.
Or how violent can
Kangaroos
be?
would beat most things.
Have you ever
Probably
seen that
not
picture
a
of
bear.
like the really jacked kangaroo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think kangaroos would beat most things, but not a bear. So that's
Okay.
got to go to UCLA.
I'm looking up what's a Hokey.
I was
Texas
just gonna say.
Longhorn. A Hokey is a loyal Virginia Tech fan. The Hokey Bird, which has evolved from a turkey.
Okay.
So we've got a turkey, I think.
So, I'm leaning towards Longhorns here.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
Yeah. I'm with you here. I'm just thinking. I'm also thinking about a few years ago when Texas and Georgia were playing in college football, and they had a live
Yeah.
longhorn on the field, and it like broke out of its cage,
That's terrifying.
They also
and
had
like,
it.
almost killed the Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah. The Georgia Bulldog got very scared. It was really sad to see. I hope Georgia won that game.
No, they didn't, because that's when Sam Ellinger said Texas was back, and Texas is not back.
There you go.
That's terrifying. Oh my god. Poor Bulldog. That makes me so sad.
He's okay though. Georgia football's doing great right now.
Yeah, you know what, of the two, I think one of them is seriously winning. One of them is back, and the other isn't. On to Purdue and Yale, the Boilermakers versus the Bulldogs. Ironically, two highly educated people here. We've got Yale and Boilermakers.
I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the Bulldogs.
But the Boilermaker has a hammer.
I can't imagine a Bulldog beating very many things in a fight.
See, that's why I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. Like, if it's going against, like, something...
But these are street rules, Lexi. There is no benefit of the doubt. There's winning and losing.
That got scary for a second.
It's like, Andrew's the
I blacked
Longhorn
out.
and I'm the Bulldog.
Does that make me Sam Ellinger?
We're back!
I wish I could say I think the Bulldogs were gonna win.
Okay.
I really don't.
The Bulldogs,
Okay.
Bulldogs
barely-
can't breathe.
Bulldogs like waddle around.
I love
and then
Bulldogs
pass out.
so much.
Then why are they the mascots for so many schools?
Because everyone loves them.
Because they're
Because
cute.
they're a sign of eliteness. If you own a bulldog, you own a purebred animal.
That's probably kind of true. I mean, Yale, Georgetown, that's two. Okay, Racers versus Dons.
Talk about racers while I read quickly.
Okay, Racers.
Like race car drivers?
I believe they ride horses based
Oh.
on the logo. I feel like you have to be at least moderately athletic to ride a horse and like stay on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that bodes well for them depending on what a Don is.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Nope. Dons are losing here. What on the website, on a website here, I have the word is Spanish, is actually an abbreviation of de origin noble, DON. So someone of noble origin.
They don't fight for themselves.
No,
They have other people
no,
fight for
the
them.
racer.
Murray State's got
They
this.
have other people fight for them.
Am I wrong?
Oh, wait.
And thanks to Taryn showing up in the middle of the episode, which we cut to now. All right, Taryn, who would win in a fight, a wildcat or a peacock?
Wildcat. Cats eat birds.
Yes, that's
Peacock
a correct
is just
answer.
Big bird. Cats eat bird.
Peacock is just big bird. You heard it from Taryn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kentucky's gonna win this next one.
Yeah.
Arizona Wildcat versus a Wright State Wolf.
Okay, so I have a couple conflicting thoughts here. Wildcats, I picture them as like on the smaller side. Probably can't do as much damage as a wolf. However, wolves are pack animals, so they're used to fighting and hunting in groups. So I could kind of go either way. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts.
Cats are scrappy.
That was my gut. My gut was
Cats are
wildcats.
scrappy, man. And like, this thing can probably pounce. Like, this cat's got some
True.
moves,
My gut was
Okay.
wildcats.
It's been around the desert a few times. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's from Arizona.
True.
So
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go Wildcat.
I like that logic.
Seton Hall Pirates versus the TCU Horned Frogs. That's what the Pirates
Hello?
gonna do.
Yeah, I was
Which
gonna
is
say-
gonna hurt,
Yeah.
but they're gonna win.
I was gonna say I would like to think a pirate would be a horned frog.
I think it would take longer than expected
Like-
just because the horned frogs are small, but they're not
Yeah.
gonna win.
Like, I will say, this pirate is going to be hurting going into its next matchup against the Wildcat, which we'll have to keep in mind that it just fought a
Oh,
horned
so
frog.
we're keeping in mind
Yeah,
like who their
yeah.
previous
So-
opponents
It's a
are.
tournament.
It's a tournament,
Okay.
We may have a winner here. The Houston Cougars versus the UAB Dragons.
It's kind of hard to argue against
It's
UAB.
really kind of hard to go against a dragon.
This
here.
is a dumb question that I might know the answer to and just not realize it. What's UAB?
University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Okay, I didn't know that.
There you go.
Mr. Duffy thought I was gonna say, "What's a dragon?" The look on your face, you're like, "What is she asking?"
Like, I knew you weren't gonna ask that, but I was like, is she gonna ask what a dragon is?
Next up, the Illinois Fighting Illini versus the Chattanooga Mockingbird.
What a terrible matchup.
This might be the only time a person actually wins against an animal,
Yeah.
This is again-
besides the horned frogs.
and besides the
pirates.
pirate. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, Illini, I hate picking Illinois to win anything, but a Mockingbird can't fight.
Mockingbirds
It
are
might
just like,
emotionally traumatize you from all the mocking.
Yeah, and, like, it'll
So,
talk a
again,
lot of trash.
And this guy's gonna be feeling down about himself when he faces the dragon in a few moments.
Which, like,
But
won't
Yeah.
matter one way or the other.
we have Colorado State Rams versus the Michigan State Wolverines.
it's just Michigan, Michigan.
Sorry,
State.
Michigan
Yeah,
Wolverines.
I mean,
don't respect them, so-
Wolverines are scrappy, but they're not. I don't think they can beat a ram. Like,
See, when I'm picturing Wolverine, I'm picturing like Wolverine, like the superhero. But like, what's an actual Wolverine?
they're like not that big.
I thought
Okay.
they were really aggressive though. They got claws, right?
They are aggressive, however, rams have such thick skulls because they bash them against each other.
Oh, so you're saying like Rams just gonna go head down?
Is
Yes.
that why they
Just-
call them Rams? Because they just like ram themselves into each
I
other.
think so. I don't. Well, I'm guessing the animal came first.
And now for our next guest in the podcast.
Matt, who would win in a fight, a ram or a wolverine?
A ram, I would say.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, consensus.
That's the
is Rams.
consensus. Thank you, Matt and AJ, for joining the podcast.
All right, next up we've got the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Longwood Lancers.
Some of these matchups just need to be more evenly spread out, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Again,
What's a lancer?
So think like a joust.
Oh.
You're riding on a horse. You got a
Okay,
spear.
so the volunteers are done for. Is
Yeah,
what you're
this the
saying.
Lancer's getting one stick right here.
Yeah. Okay.
I see.
We might need to do a little research for this one.
I do know this. A Buckeye is a plant. So we have the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. The Buckeye is a plant.
What kind of plant?
I thought Buckeyes were like the peanut butter chocolate things. Or is that named after whatever this plant is? Do you know what I mean?
I don't. My sister has a peanut allergy, so I didn't
Buckeye-
grow up around peanuts very much.
Buckeye balls is a mixed peanut butter, vanilla. Dude, I'm gonna make one of these.
I
by the way.
was right. I knew.
An Ohio Buckeye, Acacia glabra, commonly
What?
is a species of tree in the soapberry family, native to North America.
Well, what's a rambler?
Someone who rambles? I hope not.
It's a person who walks for pleasure, especially in the countryside. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
But they've got the dog. A rambler, a wolf.
A rambler is only going to win against a plant.
Yeah. Wait. This
and you know what? That
Like,
situation
that is
did
it.
come true.
I've got good news for Villanova.
I do like their chances against the Fighting Blue Hens of
Yeah.
Delaware.
Now it's got some fight in it, but again,
But it's a chicken against a wildcat.
yeah, I feel good about Nova's chances here.
So this is the Tigers again from Texas Southern.
Versus the Jayhawks. So we've got a bird here. Bird and a tiger.
Tiger.
Cats eat birds. We've been over this.
Bird. As Taryn
The
puts
wi-
so well.
Yeah, in the wise words of Taryn Tuig.
Our first guest.
Next up, the San Diego State Aztecs versus the Creighton Blue Jays.
I don't think this is particularly close.
Yeah, I gotta say, even though Aztecs are not modern man, they were a pretty well-developed civilization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Blue Jays suck.
Yeah. Following that is the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the Richmond Spiders.
Hawkeyes.
Actually, yeah, pretty much either way. Is a Hawkeye, is that another Hoosier situation where it's just someone from Iowa?
A native resident of Iowa.
Yeah, okay, so they still win.
Right. They're gonna win, but that's good to know. Providence Friars versus San Diego State Jaguars.
Like-
Hello.
I think it's probably the Fry. Like, I understand that they're a peaceful group of people.
If friars are gonna win against any animal, it's probably a jackrabbit.
Like a jackrabbit just can't do that much.
I mean, it's got that thumping foot, but like.
But like that's not gonna hurt that
It's
much,
not
I don't
a
think.
thumping
Not enough
foot.
to kill a fryer.
You know,
Oh, poor LSU.
An LSU Tiger versus an Iowa State Cyclone.
Cyclone would probably take out a tiger.
Yeah,
given
tiger
the right
doesn't stand much of a
circumstances.
chance.
So how do you defeat a cyclone? Do you like throw a bomb in there?
By
or-
being
Yeah. they're gonna go
Oh
for that.
shoot!
Next up, we have the Wisconsin Badgers versus the Colgate Raiders.
I mean, Raiders. Are we assuming they have guns?
Yeah, even still.
Even if
Even
they don't
still-
have guns, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gotta be Colgate.
They really have missed their chance to be the Colgate toothpaste.
Right? That would be a much better name.
Next up, the USC Trojans versus the Miami Hurricane.
See, how bad is the hurricane? Because obviously humans survive hurricanes all the time.
Well, my thing is, can anything beat a hurricane?
I mean, imagine. I mean,
Well-
a condensed hurricane, like what is it, a Category 5 hurricane coming right. Like, the reason we survive hurricanes is because we have houses and bunkers. But
This
like,
is
when
true.
you're facing 20 mile per hour
Degree.
wind, you're gone.
And
Like,
also-
you are
Yeah,
here and
that's
then
a-
you are there.
Yeah, I
That's
can't.
a fair
Also,
point.
if Trojans are from Europe, they never experienced hurricanes.
Oh,
They're
that's
not
so
right on the
true.
ocean. They're on like the Mediterranean
That's
Sea,
true.
so
Yeah.
they're not prepared for that.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
think-
take that.
I was gonna say, I just had like a mind blown moment where I realized that do hurricanes not happen in like Europe?
No,
No.
it's like it's an East Coast phenomenon, and Europe doesn't have an East Coast.
Interesting. Whoa.
And then our final round of 64 matchup, we've got the Auburn Tigers versus the Jacksonville State Gamecocks.
I mean,
Tigers.
in the wise words of Taryn Tuig,
Versus-
cats eat birds.
Cats eat birds.
On to now the round of 32. We've got the Georgia State Panthers versus the Memphis Tigers.
Ooh.
This is an interesting one.
I'm gonna look up
If you
some
allow me to,
heavyweights.
if you allow me to bring up my animal knowledge again, I'm thinking tigers here. Tigers are bigger than panthers,
Okay.
and I feel like that's all you really need at a certain
Yeah,
point.
a
Yeah.
Panthers away between like 120, 220. Tigers 200 to 680. So
Yeah.
you've got a chonky tiger.
Chunky.
Oh yeah, height or length. Yeah.
It's got to be Memphis
Yeah,
here.
you've got a big tiger. And then next up, we've got the Yukon Huskies versus the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Vermont Cougars.
Yeah.
Thinking a Cougar here.
Yeah,
I'm
my
thinking-
money's
I'm
on
thinking-
Yeah.
Cougars.
And I think the Huskies can be beat up from its fight against the Aggie.
I agree.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a clash of the time
Knights.
frames. A Scarlet Knight versus a Red Raider. So they're both red, shades of red.
That's interesting.
What I think about here is that the Scarlet Knights are going to have more protection than the Raider.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Raider's got the advanced technology. The Scarlet Knight has been beat up a little bit from its previous matchups.
Here is what I think. I think it all comes down to on whether or not the Red Raider hits their first shot. Because if they take a shot at the head for the Scarlet Knight, it's over if that hits.
Yeah.
However, I'm guessing they've got like a kind of old-timey gun. It's gonna take a little longer to like reload and everything. And if the Knight just charges,
Yeah.
I like their chances.
See, my gut instinct is telling me Knights.
I like your argument about the gun type, because I could definitely see in just a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because like it depends on how far away they start from each other.
Right.
But I didn't expect to go this way, but I'm leaning Rutgers here.
I agree. I think I gotta agree with you here. So then we've got the Michigan State Spartans and the CS Fullerton Titans.
Ooh, similar type of matchup, I guess.
Now, we last time made the argument that the Titans pretty big, so I wonder if off of size here...
Just
Titans...
against like a
Yeah.
one-on-one, I can't see them losing to a singular Spartan.
I agree.
Bear versus Golden Eagle.
It's gotta be Bear.
Ricky.
It's gotta be a
It's gotta be
bear.
Even though the Bear's gonna be beaten up from the Spartan, I think you gotta go with the Bear.
Yeah, because oddly
Yeah.
enough, the Eagle might also be pretty beat up just by facing someone from North Carolina. Like,
They're scrappy.
they're scrappy.
Next up, a Cowboy versus a Bruin, which is a Bear. So the thing that I think you gotta keep in mind here is I'm envisioning this Cowboy on a horse. So it has the
Okay,
escape.
I'm not, but okay.
It has the escape ability here.
Yeah.
That if when the bear starts making moves, it can get away. And you've got the
Can it?
gun.
Horses are faster than bears.
But does the cowboy have a horse?
I think so, because the Wyoming one is like on it.
It's
Okay.
tough to say because if we're going strictly based on the mascot name, they're the Cowboys, not the Cowboys on horses.
That's fair. That's fair.
And it's like, you could say like, well, Rutgers is the Scarlet Knights, not the Scarlet Knights with swords, but I feel like that's
Like,
a little
part of-
more
part
inherent.
of being
right?
a
We're still
knight
giving the Cowboy
is like
the gun.
sword.
Yeah, the Cowboy has the gun regardless. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I give it the horse. Because technically
See,
Knights have
When
horses
I'm
a lot of
picturing
the time.
like bears as mascots, like I'm just picturing them freaking huge, you know,
Mhm.
like I just can like you know what I mean? So
There's a big part of me that wants to pick UCLA just so we can have Bears versus Bears in the next round
Oh.
and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. And I'm also thinking, is the first shot, again with the gun argument about
Yeah.
is that going to do enough to stop the bear
See, that's
for
the
a
thing,
reload?
Not, I think, with the kind of gun that a cowboy would
Yeah,
have.
so I think UCLA.
Longhorns and Boilers.
So, do we know exactly what a Boilermaker is? Like someone who makes boilers, I suppose.
A tradesperson who fabricates steel, iron, or copper into boilers and other large containers intended to hold hot gas or liquid. They make boilers.
Okay.
This dude has a welder. And my other thought against Texas here is that Longhorns are kind of slothish in their movements.
Yeah,
They
I don't.
really kind of take a lot.
The way their horns are set out isn't super advantageous either, because I mean they're long, so.
Like in a fight, it can really buck that around.
Don't
You
do
can
that
get
again.
away. But like,
We'll put the horns on in post.
yeah. What do you mean? I did it right now. If you can get around that, you got a shot, especially with the Boilermaker's got like probably like a wrench or.
All right. Do we feel good about Purdue here?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
It's still gonna take
No.
time. I feel like I've made some valid arguments for Purdue, and yet I still want to pick Texas. Next up is the Murray State Racers and the Kentucky Wildcats.
Wildcats?
I'm thinking
I think so,
Wildcats
right?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I think.
So now over to the other side, we have the Arizona Wildcats versus the Seton Hall Pirates.
Again, I would think Wildcats, right?
It depends on the weapon that the pirate
I
has.
can imagine.
Like, are we thinking sword or are we thinking gun?
Really, are you saying he wouldn't win with the sword? Because I think the sword is more likely.
I think one shot from a gun can easily take out a wildcat.
Okay.
They're not that big.
I want to give it to the pirate here.
I'm torn, but I could see Pirate.
I could see it.
Do we want to factor in his hand hurting from the frog?
His hand does hurt from the frog. Although the Wildcat has just gotten a very scrappy fight with the wolf.
That's a good point.
I think this Pirate's holding on.
I think this situational matchup for Seton Hall is good.
Yeah.
Too bad they have to face a dragon in the next rounds.
See, well, we don't know that yet. The Fighting Illini, let's just, for argument's sake.
UAB is going to the Sweet
Yes, it's a
16.
dragon.
You can't really argue with that, you know? It's
Yeah.
a dragon. There's just not much you can do there.
Following that, we have the Colorado State Rams versus the Longwood Lancers.
Rams.
You see, this is an interesting matchup because I think they have the same strengths of charging at their opponent.
I was gonna say, like, Rams are basically Lancers without, like, the pole. You know what I mean?
That does
It's
also
just
mean
like
the
the
Lancers
brute
can
force.
do stuff from farther away.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is that.
But,
the-
like,
but
the
is
Ram
Lance-
is probably a lot physically stronger than the Lancer. You know,
Like,
take
if-
away the pole and it's, like, done.
Right.
Deal, you know?
So if the Ram is leading with its head, is the lance strong enough to break through the skull? Or does it knock the lance out of the guy's hand?
I could be talking to Rams here. Just off
Yeah.
of if it can get around the lance is going
Yeah.
to be hard to maneuver.
I
around.
think the angle
Yeah.
would be so difficult if the Ram's coming head on.
Yeah, I'm really thinking Rams here.
Yeah. Then we have the Ramblers versus the Wildcats.
I mean, Wildcats.
Wildcats. We established this dude stepped on a flower to get to the previous round. So
True.
next up, we've got the Texas Southern Tigers versus the San Diego State Aztecs.
I would think Tiger, right?
1-on-1, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I unfortunately for this Aztec think that Tiger is strong.
Also, just like
Tiger is strong.
geographically, an Aztec would have no familiarity with a tiger, so they'd just be caught off guard by its size, I think,
Yeah.
which would not help their cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to now my favorite matchup in this entire thing. A person from Iowa versus a friar.
Oh my goodness, what a draw.
Like, there's no objective qualities about either that would give them an edge,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Providence
I
does have God on their side.
which is what I think might be the tiebreaker.
Divine
but I was
inspiration.
gonna say though, like, what if they're just more like peaceful and then the Iowa people are just like, well, whatever, dead, you know what I mean?
That's a fair point.
Iowa do be scrappy. They got corn that they can throw at them.
But do you know what I mean though? Like
Yeah.
I feel like the Hawkeyes
Oh,
would
I
be
got
more
it. I got
willing
it,
to
though.
fight than a Friar.
No, but at this point, the friar's gotten a taste for blood with the jackrabbit. He's gonna take the
That's
rosary
true.
and just.
There is an argument that Iowa would be better rested because they had to fight a spider, whereas the friar would have to
Oh,
run
that's
around
true,
trying to get a
too.
jackrabbit.
Yeah.
And they would just be over it.
You
They'd
don't
feel
think the
bad enough
Friar
for
could just
killing
have
a
one-
jackrabbit.
Like
Emotional guilt.
Yeah.
I think the friar would be so exhausted from chasing a rabbit around an arena that
Yeah,
Iowa might have it.
I'm with you. I'll take Iowa here.
Uh-huh. That was
Next up,
mine.
the Iowa State Cyclones versus the Colgate Raiders.
Cyclone.
Cyclones
Yeah.
sucking this dude up immediately, right?
It's not particularly close.
Same game here. We've got a Miami Hurricane versus an Auburn Tiger.
Yeah, I don't think a tiger's beating a hurricane. I hate to say it.
Probably not.
Is that the first tiger that's lost this whole time?
Maybe.
The Tigers have been doing well until this point.
Now we've got
The Sweet 16.
a Memphis Tiger versus a Vermont Cougar. I think this is the same argue against the Panther.
Yeah.
Tiger's
Yeah,
bigger.
I think so too.
A tiger against any other cat is gonna win. That's just the way it is.
Alright, Knights versus Titans.
I think this is the same argument as the Michigan State.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of overlap.
So Titans have to win that, I think.
Bears versus Bruins. So Bears versus Bears. So do we now need to analyze who they were playing, or is there any real distinction between
I
a
was
bear
just
and
gonna
a
say,
Bruin?
is there a distinction between a bear and a Bruin? Like, what type
No.
of bear is a Baylor bear?
I see them both as like grizzly bears,
Me too.
just based on where they're from. I
Yeah.
really don't. I don't know if there's any distinction.
So the UCLA Bear has fought a
kangaroo
and a cowboy. The Baylor Bear has fought a Spartan and an eagle.
It's tough because I think the Baylor Bear has had the hardest opponent and the easiest opponent,
but has faced the easier opponent more recently. So I think has a little bit more rest here.
Yeah.
I think I would lean Baylor.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a tough one because they're both the same thing.
Now we have the Texas Longhorns versus the Kentucky Wildcat.
It's difficult. I don't know how big this theoretical Wildcat is, but I'm not sure I believe it's big enough to take down a cow by itself.
Yeah, my thought is that
Yeah.
I think this Wildcat is going to be able to sneak around early and get a few hits in, but I think once this Longhorn has its sights on it, look, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
So I think I go Texas.
Okay. Moving right along.
Pirates
and
versus-
Dragons.
Alright, okay.
Okay.
It's a dragon. So now we have a Wildcat versus a Ram.
As much as I would like to think the Villanova Wildcats are the
Really,
strongest Wildcats of them all.
See, I think we've let this Ram go too far, especially
Really?
after the Lancer.
Really?
I think that this Ram, it's got
I'm
one
always down to
move.
pick Villanova.
It's got one move and it's running at you. What the Wildcat has here is now a size advantage, I think, because it has
Okay.
better mobility
Yeah.
to scamper off.
Okay.
And I think the Ram is going to be a little tougher
Yeah.
to navigate here.
Ultimately, whoever wins this is just going to lose to UAB,
Yes.
so it doesn't really
Villanova
matter.
it is.
But I think I can be swayed in Villanova's direction.
Next up, the Texas Southern Tigers versus the Iowa Hawkeyes.
This is pretty
I-
easy,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you've got a tiger.
Tigers.
Alright, now for maybe the most interesting matchup we're going to have here.
Ooh,
I was
cyclones
thinking
and
cyclones.
hurricanes.
So, this is so difficult because a hurricane is just a cyclone over water.
And my thing is a hurricane is bigger than a cyclone. So my
Are
thought...
cyclones stronger than hurricanes?
I don't
Or
think
you
so.
both
not
get circular
really.
motion.
Like a hurricane is a cyclone. It's just that it forms over water.
So it's got the rain here. It could... So does the cyclone become a hurricane? So is this like an indoctrination?
It just
gets
gets absorbed.
It
Like
just absorbs the
Iowa
cyc-
State is absorbed into Miami.
I think that's what happens here. I don't think it's necessarily
Okay.
a win.
All right, the
Elite
Elite
Eight, everybody.
Uh,
Tigers versus Titans.
I think the Titans probably win.
Because
They're just-
there's a mythological component to it that I
Yeah.
think beats it.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Too bad.
I wanted a tiger.
Tigers have been going strong.
I wanted a tiger to get to the Final Four, and it isn't looking like it's gonna happen.
Then we've got the Baylor Bears and the Texas Longhorns.
I would think a bear, right?
Probably.
I think so. I can imagine the bear being
Yeah.
able to get its hands on both paws on both horns and kind of.
I think a bear is
Get
one of
its
the only
hands.
animals big enough to actually take on a longhorn.
Alright, so Dragon next.
Yeah.
Go Cats.
Too bad.
Go Cats, but UAB's getting this one.
Our final matchup here is a tiger versus a hurricane.
I mean,
Too bad for the Tigers.
yeah,
you
this is
know?
another tough tiger one to cross out, but I think Miami's got it in the bag.
You've got
Yeah.
a titan versus a bear.
I mean, if a Titan beat a tiger, I think it's gonna beat a bear
That's
too.
Yeah.
true.
I'd say tiger and bear are pretty level playing field. So CS Fullerton into the national championship.
Alright. So we've got a dragon versus a hurricane.
So my thing is there a physical way that a dragon can beat a hurricane? Just surviving until the hurricane's over?
That's what I'm
This
thinking
is
about. My
tough.
thought is, are dragons fireproof? Because if it's going to breathe fire into this hurricane, that's going to get whipped up and hit itself back. So is this going to be an instance where it beats itself?
So I guess it all depends on how we define if it is possible for Miami to lose a matchup. Like, can a hurricane lose? What does that look like? Because if it's just outlasting the hurricane, if this dragon can fly, it can just fly above the hurricane, and then it wins easily.
This is true.
That's a good point.
But does that count as a win? Does it count as a forfeit from Miami if the hurricane ends?
God. I think so. I think this could be a just I can outlast kind of situation. But I don't want that to. But could the hurricane electrocute also the dragon? Is this an instance? Is this hurricane sentient enough to make these decisions? To like take a bunch of hail and shoot it at?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it can direct where things go, because that just is out of the physical realm of what a hurricane can do. So I guess this is just a question of, can a dragon withstand a hurricane in an enclosed space? How high is the ceiling?
Let's see if I Google, can a dragon withstand a hurricane? Let's just see what happens. Bearded dragons in a hurricane. They will survive okay without UV for oh no, this is not. Storm dragons. Oh, is this okay? Something else worth bringing up, because you know how in movies it's the dragon and there's lightning. Can this dragon control the hurricane? Is this one of those things where the hurricane's I'm gonna beat you, and it's but I've been you the whole time.
That's interesting.
This is the hurricane absorbing everything just to find out that there was something that can absorb it.
Yeah. I think with all this in mind, against all odds, I think I'm taking the dragons over the hurricane.
I know, that's where I'm leaning too.
I think that's it then.
And so now to wrap up, we've got
okay.
a titan versus a dragon.
A titan versus a dragon could be interesting though, because if we're thinking of a titan as this big mythological creature.
I don't think that's a lock for the UAB.
Right,
yeah,
I think that's
it's
a
not
lock
as easy
here.
as you
But
think it's gonna be.
can the titan withstand the fire? And also, if we're going with this argument about UAB, the freaking dragon has a hurricane that it's
So
and lightning, but also it's lightning the dragon.
I fear we may be underestimating titans.
Yeah.
I don't know very much about the mythology that titans come from.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're the final boss.
Yeah.
Big boss man titan.
Well, here's how I'm going to phrase this. In a fight,
Yes.
you versus a titan or you versus a dragon, which one would you rather take?
Am I crazy for saying a dragon?
My gut was titan.
It all comes down to me.
Because my gut was even if you can run away from a titan, or no, even if you try to run away from a dragon, its fire would still get you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has enough things where it can just kind of get you no matter what. A titan, I feel like you can kind of as a tiny little human, compared to a big titan, if you're tactical enough, you can probably find a way to run away from it, whereas a dragon would be a lot harder to get away from because it can fly and has fire and stuff. Titans are just big.
I think it would be easier to avoid dying against a titan, but I think it would be easier to kill a dragon. Because just the scale of it, the scale of it, a dragon is so much more manageable than a titan, I feel like.
I don't know, mister, what do you think?
Yeah, I just looked this up, and it says on Merriam-Webster, any of a family of giants in Greek mythology, born of Uranus and Gaia, and ruling the earth until overthrown by the Olympian gods. So you've got some godlike characteristics here, which makes me think.
I'm not sure dragons are on that level.
No, I mean it took an Olympian god to overthrow them, and that's not
right. Just random knights beat dragons all the time in fairy tales.
That's so true.
I don't think any random knight is beating a titan based on what we've learned.
Oh man.
An upset in the national championship, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out CSU Fullerton.
This was a really interesting bracket. It was
Yeah.
a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
I also
I
like that
enjoyed
this
this.
Final Four is a Titan, a Dragon, a Hurricane, and a Bear.
Baylor got a good draw.
Baylor got a good
Yeah.
one.
Baylor was the clear weak link of the Final Four, which is wild because it's a bear.
Yeah.
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 Well, that is it, guys. CS Fullerton is winning the national championship.
You heard it here first.
Watch them make like a deep run now. We called it.
They're this year's Oral Roberts.
Dude, what I would give for them to beat Duke. 15 seeds have upset Duke, too. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't
Lehigh.
out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, thank you for watching. This was really fun.
This was fun.
It's been a long time coming idea. Had this idea for weeks. But yeah, so that is who is going to win in the 2022 March Madness if it was based on their mascots going at it.